What's up, YouTube? Dylan here with Dylan Some Espresso Bar, and I got a fun one in store for you today. Today, we are going to be doing an overview on the Breville Barista Express. We are going to be dialing in coffee beans from the store that does not have a roasted on date, because I know 'tis the holiday season and Christmas is right around the corner tomorrow. And a lot of you are just now getting this machine as a Christmas gift. So I am going to go back to the basics and use just the things that came with the machine when dialing in my shots. So I will not use my upgraded tamper. I will not use any of the stuff that I bought off Amazon as well. But I will tell you the stuff that I've enjoyed using that I would recommend for you with your new purchase of the Breville Barista Express. And without further ado, let's roll the intro. All right, guys, so you heard it. We're going to be talking about the Breville Barista Express today and just using what comes with the machine. Like I said, it's Christmas time and you guys are probably just getting a gift and you guys are excited to unbox your Breville Barista Express, or you already have and you are frustrated with the machine because you aren't getting the results that you wanted. My best advice to you is stay patient. It is a long process. It is a marathon, not a sprint. It definitely takes some skill and some getting used to and consistency each and every day to pull that perfect shot of espresso. And in this video, I'm going to be dialing in. Unfortunately, I threw away the package because I bought a canister to store all of my beans just to keep them fresh. I got this one off Amazon. It's Coffee Gator. If you guys are new to my channel or new to the Breville Barista Express, this is definitely a must-have in your coffee bar area. I definitely recommend it. I am not sponsored by them, but I definitely recommend it. It keeps your beans fresher for longer, especially with store-bought and fresh beans. But we are going to be using store-bought beans with no roasted on date. So what does that mean for those of you who do not know and are new to the espresso game? Well, I'm glad you asked. So a roasted on date will tell you right there what day it was roasted on. So the good thing about this is it tells you the freshness of the beans. So these were roasted on 11/4 of 20. So obviously these are over a month old. I have had these for a little bit. I bought 2 of them. I recommend that you don't buy in bulk when you do buy fresh beans. However, just starting out, I would definitely go with old beans, just pre-packaged beans that you buy from the store, because you are going to be going through a lot of beans, so you want to buy them at a cheaper rate because you're going to be frustrated buying expensive beans and going through them really fast and not pulling the shot of espresso that you so desire. So with that being said, we are going to be using just what comes with the machine, because if you unbox this for Christmas or you've already unboxed this and you're just getting used to it, I don't want to use anything to dial in these store-bought beans that you wouldn't already have at home. So without further ado, let's get to making our espresso. All right, so before we get started with this video, let's just kind of do an overview of the machine so that way you get to know what things do. So the basic operations of this machine is obviously power button to power it on. I would strongly recommend using this machine by turning it on and waiting about 20 to 30 minutes to warm up for best results. You want to make sure that the internals are nice and hot, and you want to make sure this portafilter is nice and hot as well if you want to get the best shot possible. And obviously that is all what we are trying to do. None of us are trying to make bad shots. So first key tip with opening this machine and first getting to use it, or if you have been using it, keep the machine on for about 20 to 30 minutes before use. Next, let's get into the machine itself. So if you look on this machine, Breville designed this machine very well. One bad thing that I do have to say about Breville is, about this machine anyways, is the drip tray is extremely small. So you will find yourself emptying this pretty much after every probably 4 shots pulled. It could get quite annoying, but you could have worse problems. That's the worst of your problems, then you're doing pretty good. So this is just a little removable piece here, stainless steel with plastic inserts. The cool thing about the Breville Barista Express is the simple fact that they make it really easy to know when the drip tray is full. So without pulling a shot, you know that your drip tray needs to be emptied. And what Breville did was pretty cool. And what they did was they put this little tab here. It's emptying me. Let me get a little close up there. So what that does is when the water rises enough, it'll pop through the stainless steel insert here, and it'll show you that, hey, you're about to go overboard with the water, so you're going to need to empty it so you don't overflow. And that just saves a lot of frustration in the future, and while you're trying to pull a shot if you're in a hurry in the morning. Definitely recommend, if you are new to this and you just got your Breville Barista Express and you are first getting to know your machine, I would definitely recommend that you do this when you have a little bit more time, because if you're in a rush, it's going to make you a little bit more frustrated. But hang in there. I have my channel up, and a couple other people have, a lot of people actually have channels of their Breville Barista Express. I want to do a shout out to Hoon. Also go check out his channel as well. Very knowledgeable about the Breville Barista Express, and a lot of videos showing how to use it and the functionality of it. So with that said, let's get into what comes with the Breville Barista Express. So, cool piece that hides underneath the drip tray, which is an awesome touch by Breville, is the tools that you get inside of it. So in this toolkit, you get a nice little brush. The brush is pretty cool. This is used to clean out your grinder. You can use it to clean out your portafilter with the extra grinds. I actually bought my own brush. The brush that I purchased, you could buy at your local store. It's just a little tiny paintbrush, but it's came really handy, and I really love it. Now it comes with the 4 baskets. So you have pressurized and non-pressurized baskets. So I've actually been asked since I've started my channel, what are the difference? Okay, so you get single and double shot baskets, and they are pressurized and non-pressurized. So what does that mean? Okay, so if you can see here, I'll show you the difference between a pressurized and non-pressurized. So right here, you will see a pressurized basket, and here you will see a non-pressurized basket. So those of you at home are probably asking, well, what's the difference? Well, I'm going to tell you. The dual wall pressurized basket had these little holes, if you can see them. However, these holes, nothing comes out of these holes. It just comes out, that espresso runs out of that little tiny hole. And you're also asking, well, why would I use that? Well, that's a good question. So when you're using any kind of pre-grounded beans, or you're new to the machine, if you use a pressurized single or double walled basket, you're pretty much going to get perfect pressure and a perfect shot almost every time. So when you're new and you're frustrated, don't worry. The dual walls are there to save you. They're there to help you, and they're there to boost that confidence just a little bit. You're welcome. However, when you want to up your game and you think that you are confident enough to move on, it's when you get into the single walled baskets. So what does that mean? Now we will look at the single walled baskets. So the single wall baskets also has a lot of little holes. However, the main difference between a dual walled and a single walled non-pressurized pressurized basket is the fact that the espresso actually runs through these holes. So these are actually holes that the espresso goes through. So what does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked as well, because what that means is you have to make sure that your grind size, fine or coarse, and your leveling, so leveling out, distributing the grounds evenly inside the portafilter basket, and your tamp are spot on while dialing in espresso in order to get a good shot. Some people, when they first buy this machine, or people who have had the machine for a little bit, they get frustrated because they can't pull that perfect shot. But that's nothing to be concerned about, because it's normal. It's definitely a process it takes a long time to learn. Consistency is key. Just hang in there. You got it. That's why we have our channels up to help you at home. So without further ado, let's get to some parts of the machine that I love. All right. So it just tucks straight back in, just like that. And the drip tray just goes straight in. So the cool thing is when you take this drip tray out, that tray automatically gets pulled out. So you're not trying to go in there and fish for it. It's extremely easy. You just put it back in, push it straight back, pop that back in there. So now that we got the drip tray and the pieces that come with the Breville Barista Express, it also comes with cleaning kits as well. And I will also share that with you in future videos. However, we are going to just go over the basic overview of the Breville Barista Express and dial in some espresso. So next is your portafilter handle. So we just talked about portafilter basket. We have single and dual walled and also pressurized and non-pressurized baskets. And all these they fit inside this portafilter. Okay, so you have these which are called your spouts. And the spouts are what you're going to see the espresso run through. So it's going to come through these little holes because I use the non-pressurized basket. And so it's going to take a lot more skill to use these, but you will get there. I promise. Just stick with it and you will make it. We are here for you as you guys are here supporting us. So inside here, there's this little plastic piece. So right from the get-go, I would not recommend. You're going to see videos on people taking them out. It is totally fine to take them out. I've seen a lot of videos where people have taken them out and they said it has not changed the quality of their shots and the pressure. However, if you're just starting out, I would definitely keep that in there. And the reason I would keep that in there is because Breville put this plastic insert in there for a reason. And the reason they did this was because with the plastic piece in there, it's going to allow for the portafilter to be heated a lot faster and a lot longer and contain a lot better heat. So when you take that plastic piece out, there's a lot more room in between your portafilter basket and your spouts. So the theory behind that, some people, like I said, can take it in, some people can take it out. You can leave it in or take it out, but totally preference. But if you're just a beginner, I would definitely keep that in. All right, so now let's go to the grind size. So this knob right here is the grind amount. So this allows how much beans will go into your portafilter basket when you pull your shot. I do not use this option very much, and I'm going to explain here in a second. So a lot of people, when they get the machine, let me move this up. So a lot of people, when they get this machine, they are stuck on wanting to fill the bean hopper, which is what this is. They want to fill this bean hopper with as many beans as possible. So the only bad thing about that is when you fill this bean hopper with your beans, the beans will actually get stale and expire a lot faster. So it's going to be harder to dial in your shot of espresso. To get the best shot of espresso possible, you're going to need the freshest beans as possible. And with all the heat that's generated from the machine into the bean hopper, it will make your beans a lot staler, a lot faster. So you want to watch for that. I prefer something called single dosing. What is single dosing? I'm glad you asked. I'm about to cover it right now. So single dosing is you have your scale. So my scale, it's very cheap scale. I would recommend that you guys buy the scale. It's off Amazon. I think I paid $15. I'll leave it in the link below. I got it off Amazon. It's okay. It'll do the trick, especially for a beginner. And this is important because when you are single dosing and not just filling the bean hopper, you are just single dosing about 18 grams or whatever to your preference. So I would never go more than 18 grams in the portafilter basket for the double shot because I don't believe it can hold more. I am pretty much stuck on 17.5. You'll get your rhythm going when you start pulling shots of espresso, and you'll get your taste. It's all a matter of taste and preference. But you're going to want to scale and you're going to want to dose out whatever you prefer. If I were you, I'd start out maybe about 17.5, and you're just going to put that straight into the bean. So now you only have what you dosed on your scale into the bean hopper. And you want to make sure that, so this does retain grind. So if you're new to the coffee game, you're probably asking yourself, what does retaining mean? So retention of coffee grinds is when you put your single dose beans in here, and when you grind all of it out to where there's no more that comes out, let's say you put 17.5 grams in, and you re-put your portafilter onto the scale, and now it's saying it's 17 grams. Okay, well, where did that 0.5 grams go? Well, unfortunately, the 0.5 grams are still in your bean hopper and in your burrs. That is an issue. However, there are things around it. People might look at you funny, but you can kind of go like this to allow air to go, and beans will fall out and you'll get the retained grinds. Is this necessary? It's not necessary. However, if you want the most accurate shots and the most consistency possible, I would definitely try to get what you put in out. And that's just going to help you and save frustration in the long run when pulling your shots of espresso. So without further ado, we're just going to go over here really fast. So this button right here, it says filter size. So there's a single or a double. So that's also going to depend on how much is dosed from the bean hopper itself. That's going to determine how many beans come out. So now we have program, and program, we'll get into that in another video. That could be a video all in itself. There's a lot of options. You can change the temperature of the machine, and you can do +4, +2, -2, -4. But we'll get into that later. We're just trying to pull your shot of espresso because you just got your new machine. So this is a single or a double shot. I always do the double shot because I have the double shot basket. So if you're using a double shot basket, you're going to press the double shot button. Opposite, if you're using a single shot, you're going to hit the single shot button. And if you're going to do a dosing for single shot, you're just going to do half of what you would do for a double shot. So if I do 18 grams for my double shot, well, you're going to do 9 grams for your single shot. And you'll get in the rhythm of what your taste preferences are. However, I like a 1-to-2 ratio, which means if I do 18 grams in, I want 36 grams yielded when I finally pull my last shot of espresso. So without further ado, let's get on to the grind size. So over here, you have your knob. So what this knob tells you is how coarse or how fine you want your grind size. So the coarser you go, is the bigger pieces of coffee beans you will see when it gets grinded through the machine. The finer you go, it's going to be almost like sand. So what's the difference? So when you go extremely coarse or coarser, water is going to flow through the portafilter a lot faster. It's going to be under extracted and it's going to be extremely sour. So to pull your perfect shot of espresso, rule of thumb is you want to make it to where when you pull your shot of espresso, you want to have it to where you're yielding that 1-to-2 ratio within 22 to 30 seconds. This is challenging, but you will get the hang of it, I promise. So let's look at it this way. So the difference between fine and coarse. So you have this mug over here, or this glass over here, and it's fine. You have this glass over here and it's coarse. Okay, well, when you put water like in the fine and it's like sand, water is going to flow very slowly because it's going to saturate all the way down to the bottom. So it's going to take a lot longer for that water to hit the bottom of that glass. Okay, over here you have coarse. So with coarse, what that means is, let's say coarse, it's like a glass full of rocks. So when you pour water through it, the water is immediately going to hit that glass because there's really no tension that's holding that water up. So that's the same thing with coffee grinds when you do fine or coarse. So if your shot's too fast, you need to make it finer. If your shot is way too slow and it's barely coming out, you need to make it coarser so that water can travel through your coffee and outside of your spouts. That's the difference between fine and coarse when going on your machine. I recommend when you are dialing in your shot that you only move the dial 1 or 2 times, and you want to make sure all the beans have flown out because you don't want extra beans in there when you are trying to change your grind size. Also, I recommend that you turn it on and grind while you are moving it, so it's a lot easier for the grinder to get to the grind setting that you would prefer. And I will show you that when I pull my shot of espresso. So this is a great option, especially when you look at it as an all-in-one machine and for the price you pay. You get your built-in grinder, you get a steam wand, and you also get a hot water spout. So when you go up, you're gonna get hot water that comes out of the spout. And you can actually, the cool thing is that Breville did is if you put that on, it'll actually dose out 1 cup of hot water and shut off. Then to turn the steam wand on, you just turn it the other way. And what it'll do is it'll start blinking. And what it'll do is it'll purge out all of the water before it starts to go, because you don't want any water in your steam wand when trying to froth your milk, because you don't want watery milk. You want dry steam. So once you start to see the steam come out rapidly, which you're going to see now, once that comes out like that, you are ready to froth your milk. So as soon as it starts to fully ramp up, which now it's fully ramped up, you're going to turn it off, put your mug in there, and then start it right back up when you have great steam. But you want to make sure that that steam one is purged, the water is out before you start frothing for best results. So let's get to pulling our first shot of espresso. So now I'm just going to get into a couple accessories that I love and would prefer and definitely recommend when you are just opening up your machine and getting used to it. So one thing that I would recommend is obviously the scale that I've already talked about. Definitely get yourself a tamping mat. So I got this tamping mat off of Amazon. I will leave this in the link below. It is a Correto, really nice brand. And its cool thing is it just fits straight on your counter, just like this. And it's also got a little flap. I'll show you guys that here. So definitely a cool addition. Just rests right up there and it will come in handy, I promise you, when you are going through your workflow and trying to pull your perfect shot of espresso. Next, you have an upgraded tamp. So this comes in with a built-in tamp, which is awesome. It's a cool addition. It's not the best tamp, but it will do, especially when you're beginning and you don't have anything else. And the cool part is it's very convenient. It's very convenient that it just goes straight back up because it's magnetic. So I would definitely recommend, though, when you get into making better espresso, that you get yourself a better tamp. So this tamp is pretty nice. I think I paid $30, $40 for it. This is a Lux House. I will put this in the link below as well. I would definitely recommend a better tamp like this, just because with the tamp that comes with the actual machine, it's kind of hard to get a feel for it. I mean, it's just so small. It's a little small for my hand, and like it's just not comfortable. And one thing to be good at pulling shots of espresso when tamping and doing everything that it requires, comfortability is a huge factor. So with this one, it fits in my hand. It's a lot bigger. It's a lot more durable and heavy duty. I like to hold it like a doorknob, and it's harder with that one because it is so much smaller. But I would definitely recommend a tamper, an upgraded tamper. And like I said, I bought this off Amazon, and it's about $30, $40, totally worth the investment if you're looking into buying products for your Breville Barista Express. So the next tool that I would definitely recommend, especially when having your Breville Barista Express and you want to pull better shots, to declump your espresso beans. So what that is just a little styling tool. I mean, you can use anything. You just want to make sure that you swirl it up, and you want to declump all the big coffee clumps in there so that way it's even and uniform as possible when in the portafilter. All right, so without further ado, let's get to pulling our first shot of espresso. Let's get it. So now that the machine is all warmed up, portafilter is nice and hot, machine's all nice and warmed up, 30 minutes now. Let's go ahead and get to pulling our first shot of espresso. So like I said, we are going to be using store-bought beans, just because you starting off at home, you probably don't have freshest beans. So what we will do is we will dose some beans. And I am going to use a scale today, just so I can teach you guys a little bit more how to dial in a little bit better while using single dosing. So now we are going to have something to dose our beans in. I'm just using a cup here, and I'm going to be dosing out 17.4, 17.5 grams. So if you get enough, don't be afraid to take some out. Like I said, you want to be as accurate as possible. So right now we are at 17.4 grams in. So we're at 17.4 grams. We are going to dump the 7.4 grams inside of the bean hopper. So this brings me into another tool that will be very useful for you guys starting out, and it'll save a lot of hassle and a lot of frustration in the long run, and that is a dosing funnel. There are multiple kinds of dosing funnels that you can use. I bought this one off of Amazon. I will put this in the link below as well. This is extremely nice. And what are dosing funnels? Well, dosing funnels go on top of your portafilter. What are dosing funnels used for? Well, dosing funnels will go on top of your portafilter, and they will be able to control the grounds inside of the portafilter. So one thing that's frustrating when you first get the machine is when you go to dose your beans into your portafilter, it starts to overflow, and it almost seems like you waste more beans into the drip tray than you actually get inside your portafilter basket, and it's extremely frustrating. I know, just stick with it, it'll get better. Definitely buy one of these. I'll put it in the link below. And this as well. This will actually just go onto here, 3D dosing funnel, to where you can just hang it right there and it'll dose the beans right away. You can just dump it in here. The grinds will come in here. Just kind of shake it a little bit. You want to make it as even as possible. And then I like to stop midway, and you just get a little bit dosed inside your dosing funnel. Just kind of tap it a little bit, get it nice and even. And then go ahead and dose the rest of your grinds in there. So this does take a little bit longer. However, it will save you the frustration when dosing your beans. So as you can see, so I'm going to okay, so what I did was I just tapped it a couple times to get all the grounds out, and we are going to now pretty much even out the beans inside the portafilter. So this brings me to another tool that is very good to have that you guys will not start out with, and it is a leveling or distribution tool. So it is called both leveling and distribution tool. So what does this do? So this one is actually a tamp and a leveling slash distribution tool all in one. So this will actually go onto the portafilter. You'll actually just spin it and it'll level out the beans for you. Saves a lot of hassle, less channeling, and channeling is where more coffee will go through one side, making an uneven flow, either unextracted or over-extracted shot, which is going to leave you unhappy. So definitely recommend buying one of these. I got this one from Crema, but you can buy any one off of Amazon. There's cheap ones, they're 20 bucks. This one I think is like 35, 40 bucks. Definitely worth it. I'm not sponsored by them, but definitely would recommend this product. And I would definitely recommend getting a distribution slash leveling tool for your Breville Barista Espresso. It'll make your life a whole lot easier, trust me. But since you guys are new to this and you guys don't have one, I'll be using the original tamp with the Breville Barista Express. When tamping, you want to make sure that you don't tamp with the spouts on top of the mat like this. You want to make sure that when you are tamping that you put pressure. So right here you have a little flat part before the spouts, and you want to just push that up against something. So that way you're not on the spouts, because you could actually damage and hurt the spouts. So you'll put it up against here, and you want to make sure that when you tamp, you put pressure, even pressure on all four sides so that you get the best shot possible. So now what we'll do is they say that you want about 30, 40 to 50 pounds of pressure. What does that mean? Well, it's widely talked about and widely controversial in the coffee community, how much pressure you actually need. Just make sure you're giving it enough pressure to where you're gonna get a solid extraction when pulling your first shot of espresso. So, like I said, I like to hold it like a doorknob, push it down, tap it on both sides, and spin it. So you don't wanna keep spinning it because you'll actually disrupt the puck. It'll take away from your shot of espresso. So you're just gonna go ahead and polish it off, lift it up. If you have to, you can throw some beans on there. It's a little harder without a tool. Just maybe just push it back in there, push down, and now you got your even and tamped beans. So without further ado, let's go ahead and flush the machine. You always want to make sure you flush your group head out just so you get a good shot and it's up to temperature. So I'm just going to go ahead and wipe that. Put this under here. And go ahead and put my shots under here. So because you don't have a scale starting out, I am just going to dose it into the cup, and I'll let the machine turn it off by itself because it's programmed for a double shot. So we'll just go with that because you guys are new and you guys do not have a scale to measure out your dose. So let's get to pulling the shot. So in this part here, I decided to mute my mic, and it was a little bit too loud for audio. So I'm about ready to pull my shot here, and as you can see, when it's first coming out, it's coming out pretty fast, and this is something that you don't want to see. This means that your grind setting was way too coarse. So we're at 7 right now, and we're gonna have to go down to 4. Because it's going so fast, we need to definitely change our grind size for better results. All right, so as you guys just seen, the shot went extremely fast. That shot's going to be extremely bitter. I don't even want to try it because it's going to be that bad. I knew it was going to be bad because I put it extremely coarse. So like I said, water is going to flow through it a lot faster than it normally would. So if you look at it, the crema is very, very thin here. And you want to have good crema to have a good shot. So I will try this just to tell you guys. Yeah, it's extremely sour. I mean, it's just, it's awful. You're not going to want to drink this. You're going to be very disappointed when you're making coffee at home and you make shots like this. So I am going to teach you guys how to fix it. You're welcome. So because that shot was awful, we got to get back to the drawing board. So what does that mean? Well, we got to fix our grind. So if you look here, the dial goes from fine to coarse. So we are going to actually need to go finer. We're going to go ahead and run our grinder, and we're going to go to 4. So there's no beans in the hopper. So because there's no beans in the hopper and we started it while we were grinding and we changed the grind setting, we went from 7 down to 4. Yes, that is a huge jump, but it came out so fast and we got almost 0 pressure when pulling that first shot of espresso. We need to go down and make a pretty big adjustment on the outside setting for the grind size. So now we will go into setting number 4, and we're going to go ahead and repeat all those steps, and then we're going to see how the shot comes out. So stay tuned for that shot. So this would be a good time to mention the puck. So once you get done pulling the shot and you pull this out, you're going to notice the puck is inside the portafilter basket. So what we have here is a knock box. You're going to want to get yourself a knock box. Totally worth it. It's got a little tiny plastic piece right here, or a rubber piece, and you're going to hit this portafilter on here. It's going to drop the puck inside, and it's just going to look a little bit like that. So now the puck is in here. It is secured, and you can just go ahead and toss that out, and now your portafilter is cleaned. Definitely would recommend getting any kind of knock box. You can buy a cheaper one. This one I believe is $30 off of Amazon, and I would definitely recommend this. They have a smaller one for $19.99, I believe. That would work as well. Depends on the size of your setup. So let's get into pulling the next shot. All right, so we just pulled that last shot, and what you saw was, so we went from 7, where we started out for the grind size, down to 4. Because of how fast it was coming out, we changed the grind setting to 4. So what that did was, if you guys could see, now we have a lot thicker crema. We have a slower shot, and now it's actually going to probably taste okay. So let's give it a swirl and we'll try it out. That's really good. So you could even probably go down to number 3, repeat the steps, and you will get a perfect shot of espresso. However, if you want to dial in your shots perfectly, repeat these steps until you see a slower flow from the spout. So when pulling your shots of espresso, you want to make sure you visualize the 2 streams coming out and they're coming out evenly. If that happens, you know you made a great shot. So now, like I said, if you want the perfect shot, you could even go down to number 3 in your grind size. We went from 7 down to 4. You could go down to 3, repeat the steps, and I promise you, you will have a great shot of espresso and you will enjoy it, especially with a milk-based beverage that we will get into future videos. Stay tuned. I will teach you guys how to froth your milk so that way you get the best lattes as possible. So I just want to recap really quick on what we went over. So we went over the basic things that come with the Breville Barista Express. You have your portafilter handle, you have your 4 baskets, so you have your single and double shot baskets along with your pressurized and non-pressurized baskets. If you're frustrated with the process, I would recommend, if you're buying any kind of pre-ground coffee, that you go with the pressurized basket. You will get a perfect shot and pressure each time. However, if you want to start honing in your skills and you want to get better at the consistency of making better espresso from home when you are actually doing more of the process, I would definitely recommend switching to the single and double shot non-pressurized baskets, and then you know you made it into the game of espresso. So with that being said, just a little basic recap on the espresso. If the shot is coming too fast, you want to go finer. If the shot is barely coming out and going way too slow, you want to go coarser to allow more water to flow through. So if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments below. As always, this is Dylan with Dylan's Home Espresso Bar. I want to grow a family here on this channel. I love and appreciate all of you guys for watching. If you guys could hit that like and subscribe button down below if you enjoyed the video. If you want to see future content, please leave that in the comments below. And as always, I love and appreciate all of you guys. And until next time, thank you for watching. Peace.